Hi everyone, welcome back to Turf and Tarmac, the SACU official podcast with me, Rachel, and our host Callum. This season on Turf and Tarmac, we've been speaking to some of Scotland's top riders from across the motorsport disciplines to find out a bit about their riding experiences and their favourite moments of their sporting career.
This week on the podcast, we're joined by Ashley Robson. Ashley is a road racer who races in the Formula 600 Championship and the Scottish Championships. She has had a very similar career path to what most road racers in Scotland have, and starting off in mini motos and working her way up through the classes. So it gives a really good insight as to what it's like racing in Scotland, and we hope you enjoy the interview. So welcome back to Turf and Tarmac, the SACU podcast. This week's guest is Ashley Robson. How are you, Ashley?
I'm fine, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, not bad at all, thank you. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself, what discipline you ride in, and how you got started here?
Okay, so I am obviously Ashley Robson. I'm 23 and I raced in the Formula 600s in the Scottish Championship. So I've done that for this season and bit of last season, obviously with COVID and everything, it was kind of cut short. Spend most of my time when I'm not racing PTing people because I'm a personal trainer. So that keeps me busy as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So how did you get started in road racing then? How did you first get going?
Well, it was initially my older brother. He got a mini bike when we were younger. I must have been about 7. And we've got like a big out of use like railway line that's all grass. And basically I had a shot of it on there and that was it. I needed my own. So badgered my parents to get one, got the mini bike, and then we did some like mini bikes and mini crossers as well, like the 50 cc's, and went on that. And then I think I was about 8 or 9 before I actually, maybe 10, before I started actually racing in the Scottish Mini Moto Championship, and just kind of went from there, up to the 125s, 400s, 600s. So
yeah, that's pretty good. Did you like take to it right away, or was it something you had to work at, or what was your like?
Definitely something I had to work at, because when we started, it was definitely more the mini crossers. So the habit of like sticking your foot out, it doesn't go very well on a mini bike. So learning to, corner and everything. But it's really, kind of after that, after maybe a couple of sessions on there, it was just go, what out all the time. So.
Yeah, that's it. I think it's quite cool as well too, because most of the guests we've had on have started off on like mini motos or like mini crossers, and it's quite cool that I say it literally every single episode. But most people have done more than one of the disciplines. Like it's not just you don't do road racing or just do motocross. Everybody crosses over. It's pretty cool. Moving on from that, then what your first few seasons in mini bike racing, because obviously I know you raced with Macintosh Mini Motos. So how did that go for you?
Feels like so long ago. It went all right. As far as I remember, we did quite well. Racing that like Lark Hall and Kart Start when it was up at Aberdeen, so for a while ago, and Kirkcaldy and stuff. It went too well. It was enjoyable. No championship wins in the mini bikes, but definitely built up to what we've achieved. As I got older. So.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like the Aberdeen Kart Start would have been a godsend for you guys, because the closest track is Knockhill, and it's still like a 3-hour drive or something away.
Yeah, I think we're about 2 hours to Knockhill. So Aberdeen was nice when we were younger.
Yeah, absolutely. So moving up from mini motos, then what was the next step after mini motos? Was it straight onto 125?
Yeah, up to 125s. We did do we had a bit of fun on a 110 motocross bike. And then it was on to 125s, and we used to use a little private road down by our beach, and basically could barely touch the ground at the time, trying to do the wee starts on the 125 and everything, and then it was off to do our license at Knockhill. So that was the next step for us.
Yeah, that's it. And what club did you join at first? Because obviously to get your license, to get to that stage, you need to join a club. So did you join the Melbourne Knockhill club? Do you remember?
It was Knockhill first. Yeah, Knockhill was our first. And then we joined Melville along the way. So no, it was good doing it through them to start with.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I mean, I think you know, for people listening, a lot of people would probably find like I usually take the licenses. I usually take people out to do their license, and you know, a lot of people beforehand when they ask questions, they seem to think it's like this big deal, and it's really really like nerve-wracking and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
It's, you know, you've got a little classroom bit before it, to get to the next stage, which is getting on the track. And once you're on the track, you literally just need to show that you're safe, and that's about it. It's not like a road test, isn't it? You don't need to do like a figure eight.
Oh, you definitely work yourself up for it. You're like, oh my god, am I going to pass? And it's like, as soon as your helmet's on, it's like, oh, you're fine.
Yeah, okay. That's it. So 125s, how did that go? You know, that was the kind of start of everybody's career. Bikes. It's pretty exciting when you're a youngster, isn't it?
Pretty exciting, yeah. It was good. I mean, obviously starting out in the 125s, quite small, it was a bit of a struggle. Usually started quite at the back of the grid to start off with, and then we're slightly on, I think we're on the older style Aprilia 125, and then gained confidence on that, and then we moved on to like the super team spec ones, RS 125. So hopped on one of them. I think it must have been after my first year in the 125s, or maybe a couple of months through. Hopped on one of them, and it was just great. Amazing, couldn't fault it. As far as 125s go, got novice of the year, and I think that was 2012 maybe, and then a championship at Knockhill in 2013. So yeah, it was successful, so it's good.
Yeah, that's it. I think you know, like you had Robin Lindsay's old bike, didn't you? So your bike was
yeah. Robin, we got hers. That's right.
That's it. I remember that. So you know, like what was the feeling like as a youngster? I mean, you know, 2012, you must have been what, 12, 13 years old. Like what was the feeling like of racing as a young woman more than anything? It must have been there's not very many girls in our sport. You know, quite a sad thing. It must have been quite a cool thing for you to be like novice of the year and all that, and in your kind of first year.
Yeah, it was great. It was exciting. I mean, we worked hard, but it was, you know, exciting. You never really, obviously there's not many females racing, but because you kind of like grow up in the mini bikes, it's all kind of like mostly guys and stuff. You don't really notice that it's not, you know, it's not like you're any less better than them kind of thing. Like you kind of all on the same playing field, and you know, you can do just as good as them. So, you know, it was exciting, and everyone's nervous when they first start, but once you're on the track, it kind of goes away and you're focused on that. So no, it was really good. Had a really good start to my racing, so it's nice.
Going through like from 125s, I know what your next step was obviously, but through the 125s, what was like some of the challenges that you faced through there? Because obviously the 125s are quite temperamental bikes, and you know, it's a difficult thing to get used to. Like if you've started off and you work your way up, you do get used to it eventually, but it's a very difficult thing to get your head around at first, a two-stroke, I think.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Just practice. I mean, we did practice run after practice run up in areas where we had space up here, and I mean, you know, getting used to the clutch. I mean, my starts, I think only recently my starts have gotten better. You know, getting off that line is a bit of a struggle sometimes when you're first starting out, and obviously very temperamental. I can say I've seized a few engines in my day, especially on the 125s. So it took a couple tumbles, but just dust it off and get back on. You know, I'm lucky that, you know, my dad helped fix the bikes, or did most of the fixing, and you know, I did a good job of it. So yeah, you just gotta keep at it and be careful with it as well at the same time.
That's it. One thing that I've actually not asked any of the rest of the guests, which is probably quite an important thing to add in for any parents who are listening, who are considering, you know, the challenges of bike racing whilst their kids are still at school. I mean, both you and I raced bikes, you know, competitively, and we're still, you know, at school full time. Like it's for me anyway, it was a thing that you could juggle all right if you were committed enough to both of them. Then it was no problem at all. What do you think?
Yeah, I think, like you say, if you're smart about it, and you know you have a race weekend coming up, do your homework earlier. You know, just you got to keep on top of it. And our race weekend is a race weekend. You know, focus on that and kind of, get your work done beforehand, and just it's about scheduling it. If it's something you really want to do, then you're going to make it work. So I don't know about your school, but my school were like, yeah, that's great, go ahead,
Yeah, my school was exactly the same. And I think that as well, that it teaches kids, occasionally, sometimes it can be obviously the opposite, but I think as well, it's very important to teach kids about how to lose and stuff like that as well, because you're not going to win every weekend. You're going to have good weekends and bad weekends.
Oh yeah.
Being able to not win or not achieve your goals and then learn how to deal with that, I think that's such a good life lesson, and I know that it's definitely helped me through my life.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. You're not going to win everything. It takes time, and you're not just going to go out there and be the best right off the bat. So it takes practice, and you got to take that into everything you do in life. You're not always going to be the best straight off. If you work at it, then you'll get there.
Yeah, that's it. And I think as well that like as a youngster and growing up with the racing, it almost, I'm trying to like articulate what I'm trying to say here. It almost teaches you a bit of like compassion as well, if you know what I mean. I don't think that's the right word, but like if you for instance you lose, then you're never really bitter about it. I mean, it's not really a thing in the motorsport world. You know what I mean? If you lose, then you shake your person's, beat his hand, and like that.
It humbles you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that that's such a good thing as well, because not in any other particular sport, but you do see some people who are if they do lose or if they don't get what they want, and they're stomping around and having tantrums. And obviously, I think when you're a kid, it's so easy to do that in our sport as well. It's not the first time that I would have been kicking the gravel and jumping up.
Yeah, but you got to learn to put that ego aside, don't you? And at the end of the day, if you gave it your all, you gave it your all. Just it wasn't enough at that point, and you'll get it next time.
That's it. Leave your ego in the toolbox. That's the thing. Leave your ego. Yeah. So then moving on from 125s, you then moved on to 400s. Is that right?
Yeah, Formula 400s. We did a couple seasons on the 400. Love the 400. Coming from the 125s to the 400, it feels like you're going a million miles an hour. It feels so much faster, and the bike not as temperamental, but enjoyable. Some good racing. I think there was one season where the bike and I just didn't get along very well, and we both did a couple cartwheels each. But I think after that was out the system, we found the limit, and that's where we came away with 400 championship win. So yeah, it was definitely a good experience. Enjoyed it a lot.
That must have been some feeling, like winning a championship at that kind of level. The knockout championships are so competitive, and it must be such a good feeling to, and I'm not making a big point in this, but as a girl, it must be even better, because it's not just because you're a girl that you've won type thing. You know what I mean? Or it's not. Yeah. You beat everybody, and it must have been such a cool thing.
Yeah, it's good, because it's such a common question I get. It's like, oh, like what are the other girls like? Like they assume you're in a class of females, but I'd be like, no, it's you're in with the guys, and sometimes you're even the only girl on the grid. It's not. And they're like, oh, you compete with the guys and things. You're like, yeah, give as good as you get, kind of thing. And I think what made that win sweeter is it was like full 18 out of 18 wins, like finished the whole season, no hiccups. It definitely made it good, worthwhile, going through those cartwheels beforehand to come away with that. So yeah, no, it was good.
That's one thing as well I think about, about crashing. Crashing seen as this big scary thing that, bike racing sometimes is labelled as like a really dangerous sport, and there's no denying that it's of course a dangerous sport, but I think as well that I know myself, like, you learn from crashes more than you do from winning, I think sometimes.
Oh, definitely.
And I think that when you learn how to crash, the wins become a wee bit even sweeter, because you tend to push on that wee bit more and things like that. I think crashing is such like a kind of big bad thing that everybody's scared of, but I think it's not something that everybody should, like, motorbike racing shouldn't be labelled as a really dangerous sport, because if you to think about the amount of races that you finished to the amount of races that you crashed out of, the odds are just crazy, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's a fluke. You push too hard, you know yourself. Sometimes you push a bit too hard, and you learn from that, not to do that again. And you ride a bit smoother as well, and you find better ways to move around the track for you and that work well. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's it. So moving on again, so what was the next steps in your career after the 400 championship?
Next step, so we doubled up. We did the lightweight class again with a super twin, and we also raced in the Formula 600s on a Triumph 675. So that was a busy year, jumping between both classes, but definitely hopping on that twin, it definitely pushed you on a bit more after being on that 6. So yeah, I think we finished top 10 in the 600s after that, and then can't remember what we did on the twin. We did a couple rounds, but it was good. Finding the balance between both bikes, it was good fun and kept us busy throughout the year, and just kind of helped with endurance for longer races that we're looking to do in the future. So no, it was good.
This won't be out until after this coming weekend, so
yeah.
I know we're kind of skipping forward with you that, but talking about endurance, why don't you speak about what you're doing this weekend?
This weekend, making my way down to Allen Park for the BSB. Got a wild card entry for the junior super sport class, so that's exciting. Quite a big step for us. So we'll see how it goes. Get in the mix a bit and see how we do. But no, really looking forward to it.
What's the what's the goals for this then? The goals for going forward in the BSB championship, like for obviously just for the weekend. Have you got any goals going forward, or are you just going to go down and see what happens?
Going down and see what happens. We definitely want to do more racing down south next year, whether that's with Thundersport or BSB. We'll kind of see how we go. But we're also looking to do the roads. So some of the people in the BSB and things venture over to Ireland and stuff. So just we've got a lot to learn still, as everyone does. You learn something new from everybody. So going down there, seeing the setup and how they go about doing things, it's just looking forward to gaining a bit more knowledge and being with some quick. They'll be quicker down there. We've not been to that track twice. And that was maybe a couple of years ago now. So we'll be definitely learning a lot over the weekend anyway. So.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's one of the things as well that because you've been there previously. I mean, you've not got the learning the track. You've got the learning the bike, and then learn that bike for that track, because you can go to the same track twice on 2 different bikes. You need to ride it completely different.
Totally different. Yeah, you're right. So we've been there on a 400 one. Maybe once before. So I'm hoping I'll hop on their 400 and we'll get on. We'll gel quite well with each other, but anything could happen. But we're looking for a good race weekend. So.
Yeah, that's it. So going back onto the kind of timeline of your racing career, so you've jumped onto the 600 and the twin. You've spoken a bit about that. Where does the road racing thing come in? So when did you first get your first taste of road racing?
We did Oliver's Mount a couple of years ago now, maybe 2-3 years ago. It's always something I want to do is road racing. I've watched, the TT and like Armoy, the Irish roads, and it's just something I've always kind of wanted to do. I went over to the Manx newcomers when I was 17. At that point I was too young, but they accepted me for the newcomers anyway. But went over, they showed you the track, they took you around, and it was like, you get that feeling, that like excitement, the adrenaline running. It was just, it's something I've really wanted to do. So we did Oliver's Mount to get a wee taste of it, and it was great. I mean, difficult. It's so different to racing on a track, but it was really good. And then obviously between injury and COVID and things, our plans last year were kind of put on hold for the road racing, and so hopefully next year we're looking to do a bit more of that, and be good. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, like watching it on TV, I watch Oliver's Mount every single time it's on TV, and it's one of those ones where I've always thought, like it looks so like small, like so thin, like
it's so tight, it's unreal. Yeah, coming down, you come down like on the TV, it looks like somewhat flat, but coming into that really tight hairpin, you're coming down this hill so fast, and then you just like squeeze around. You're on the brakes pretty hard, and then squeezing around to miss the grass, or you're gonna kick it up, and it's a quite a tight circuit.
It looks like such good fun as well, though. I mean, especially for the bikes, it's not so bad. For something like the sidecars, like you could hardly get two abreast. Like that's how tight it is, isn't it? Like
yeah, it's amazing how they actually make it round so well. But again, takes practice. They've probably been doing it quite a while, but no, it's a good experience anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. So you spoke a little bit there about how kind of COVID had put the brakes on that a little bit.
Yeah.
Going through COVID, as a PT and stuff like that, it must have been so difficult. That whole 9 months or whatever it ended up being must have been such a difficult time for you.
Yeah, it was pretty difficult. I mean, we kind of transferred the business online. The gym I work out of, we did online classes and things like that, and tried to do your online PTs. And then when we were allowed to do kind of outdoor PT sessions, obviously living in Scotland, it wasn't ideal with rain or snow or whatever weather we were getting that day. But we kind of like chipped away at it, and then obviously towards the end of the year things started opening up and we're able to do classes and stuff. But yeah, definitely, it took a hit on a lot of people, and it was very much a struggle, but we're back to it now and busier than ever.
Yeah, that's it. It must be something as well. I know personally I've only just got a PT this year, and I managed to lose loads and loads of weight, and I can actually we'd done the wild card at BSB, and the second race I actually managed to go through the full race. First race I got arm pumped because I got excited, and I was up in
I saw the post,
up in like 13th place, and I was like, oh, this is going really, really, really good. I was only like 13 laps into a 24 lap race, so
hold on for dear life. Yes, this is amazing.
That's it, exactly. So yeah, it was it must be something really, really good for you, because you'll be able to know exactly how to train to go bike racing, whereas I've just got my PT this year and he's pushed me so hard. Is it something you can do yourself, or do you also need that wee kind of push from someone else?
I think everybody needs that wee push from someone else. It's sometimes it's hard to find the motivation yourself. You need that extra, but we train with like the other PTs and things. We train with each other, but for the most part, I managed to get on quite well myself. So yeah, it's a mix, depends on how I'm feeling, but at the moment I haven't had to employ one of the other PTs, so I'll keep that money for myself for now.
That's it. So going forward from after COVID, like you say, last year was a bit of a washout, wasn't it? There wasn't very much to do.
Yeah.
How's your year went this year?
It's been okay so far. I mean, obviously the end of last year, the races at Knockhill had a little off, giving me a couple injuries to come back from.
When you say a little off, it wasn't really a little off, wasn't it? Not?
Okay, it was a little bigger than a little, but we didn't realise how bad I was injured till we actually, took the trip to A&E. Breaking the pelvis in 3 places, and it's a little bit of internal bleeding, nothing major.
To be fair, I mean, it's pretty mental, like you say. You left the track walking, and you were just feeling a little bit sore, and you got to A&E, and you must have had some shock when they told you what you'd actually done to yourself.
Yeah, well, they reckoned, because my shoulder was pretty swollen, so they'd reckoned I'd maybe broken my collarbone. But because, like you say, I walked off the track, walked into the med center, walked out again. They were like, "Oh, it's probably just muscle," and I was like, "Okay, no worries." He came back, and the doctor was like, "Good news, you've not broken your collarbone." I was like, "Awesome." He's like, "But you have broken your pelvis," and I was like, "I'm sorry, what?" Come again. So yeah, that got me a nice stay in major trauma for a week and a bit, and then down in a general ward for a week. It was, once that adrenaline wears off, the pain kicks in a little bit.
Adrenaline is such an amazing thing, isn't it? It's like one of those things that's so underrated. It's the most underrated thing ever. You can literally get through whole weekends running on adrenaline if you've got a bad injury.
Absolutely.
Even with a broken pelvis, you manage to, walk home and, literally get home and then go to A&E. I just think it's mental.
Yeah, well, I mean, we weren't even going to go. We kind of like, do we go to Dunfermline and just pop in, just see if we're okay? But then we're like, we'll nip to Dundee on the way home. And yeah, I ended up staying there a wee while. And then obviously recovery was fairly long. Getting to walking and stuff again because of where the break was. And then after that, it was the shoulder because I'd separated my AC joint. So that was a bit of a pain itself, but just trying to, keep on top of it, do the exercises we can. And, it's probably not totally fighting fit when we started the season. You definitely like fatigue hit pretty quickly, especially on the shoulder. But as the season's gone on, we've dealt with it, and it's somewhat getting better. We've had recently the cortisone injections or steroid injection in it to see if that kind of sorts out and takes away a lot of the pain that we feel most of the time. So hopefully get back into proper gymming it, and next year will be even a better season for us. So
yeah, that's it. I mean, even when you came back, you were having some bike troubles and things like that. It's not really been plain sailing for you this year.
Plain sailing. No, the 600 was not our friend at the start of this season. Whether it was the battery, kind of letting out, or not getting gears, the quick shifter having not working properly, and just all sorts of bits and bobs. But it's a part of racing, it happens, as rubbish as it is. But it is what it is. We all have bad seasons or bad starts to the seasons. You just gotta keep going with it, and once you get those kind of sorted out, all the issues ironed out, then you're going for gold. So we'll be back next season on maybe a different bike. We'll see.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's actually something I was going to say. Going to this weekend down to BSB, although the competition is so much more difficult, and it's a physical track. You're actually moving down onto a 400, so it might not just be quite as physical upper body wise. So you might find that it might be not so bad as what the 600 was.
Yeah, I mean, admittedly, the 600 you didn't have to wrestle around too much, but obviously not killing yourself. It's super hilly, especially that reverse direction. That was, definitely put me through my paces and the shoulder anyway. But yeah, I think the 400 will be a little bit easier on me with that. And it's it shouldn't be too strenuous. I think we'll manage okay with the 4. But we won't know till we get down there. We'll see how we do.
Yeah, that's it. Obviously, it's going to be such an experience. Racing at BSB it's crazy because, especially for yourself, when we were at Knockhill, we've had 1,000 spectators round about it. Knockhill just looked absolutely dead. Whereas Oulton Park, it's the first round of the showdown. It's going to be so busy. The atmosphere is going to be mental. I think you're going to enjoy it so much. It'll be so good.
Yeah, it's totally different. It's the atmosphere is just so much bigger. Everything's hyped. You're excited to race at home, but when you're going somewhere else and it's as big as it is and it's televised, all this going on, and you just kind of got to get your head down and stay focused, and it'll be fine.
Yeah, that's it. So from the very, very beginning, then, who's been your biggest motivation through your kind of racing career? What's been your motivation?
My motivation, I don't know. Just every year I want to do better. Really, the peak for me would be Isle of Man. I've watched it with my dad and everything on telly, and Guy Martin. Who doesn't love Guy Martin? And also my family as well. They've always supported me through it, so that's definitely a big motivation. They think I can do it, so I think if they were oh, maybe not, then I'd probably be a little bit less inclined to, but they've definitely motivated me throughout the years to keep at it and have a bit of faith in yourself. So sometimes you work hard for it and you're probably better than you think you are. So
I think that's one of the biggest like flaws of everybody in all different walks of life and all different sports.
Yeah.
Self-belief, you need to have that self-belief to do anything at all. Like you say, your whole family can have faith in you, but if you don't have that faith in yourself, then you're not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, you're not going to go anywhere, absolutely. So you just got to put in the work, and if you've done what you can, then you'll come back even better next time, and that's all you can do, really. Give yourself a pat on the back, it'll be fine.
Yeah, that it's so true. You literally can't do any more than your best. Even if your best isn't enough, if you've given your best, then you can't be disappointed, I don't think.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, it's definitely. I'm so excited for you this weekend. We're obviously racing at East Fortune this weekend as well, so we'll be like on the bike onto Eurosport Player watching the racing onto the time. What is your favourite circuit that you've been to so far? That's actually a pretty good question. You've raced, and we can even go all the way from mini motos to all the tracks you've raced, your road race tracks you've raced. What's your favourite track?
That's such a good question. If I could mold 3 together, that would be great. But I think I really enjoyed Donington. I went to Donington. That was a really, really good track. I also quite like Alton as well. They're both really great tracks. Probably 2 of my favourite. I'd probably say those two. Those 2 for the moment, anyway.
Yeah.
And not kill, obviously. Got to love a home circuit.
Oh yeah, you definitely need to be on the home circuit. 100%.
Yeah. Those 2 at the moment.
Yeah, that's it. Obviously, like you say, if you could mold 2 tracks together, then that would be the ideal situation.
Yeah, you have like favourite bits, like favourite sections on each track. If you could just put it all together, it'd be like your dream track.
What's your favourite corner? Then that's actually, I think I would know what my favourite corner is in all the tracks I've raced. What's your favourite corner that you've been on?
Favourite corner. Now you're testing me on the names. What's that one at Darlington when you come down the hill and you come to that small left and then
Craner curve into the old
Craner curve. That's the one. Yeah, love that one. It's awesome.
It is a real good bit. My favourite corner, 100%, and I don't think I've ever gotten it right once. Is actually there's 2. I've got one at Oulton Park. So the second to last corner at Oulton Park, there's like a double apex right hander, and then you go over the little
and the wee bit, yeah. That one's good.
That's such a good bit of track. And then East Fortune, S's 1 and 2 East Fortune, when you're going really, really quick right and then left, real fast going chicane. That's one of my favourite corners as well. I just think it's so mental. Like East Fortune is such like an old-fashioned track that you're like body hanging over the grass with your knee like floating over the top of the grass. And it's the same at Donington as well. When you're going down Craner, like your whole body's over the grass.
Down, it just flows so nicely, doesn't it? Coming around and just East Fortune good for that. I do like that corner.
So can you also tell us an interesting fact about yourself that nobody would know?
The fact that I race is my interesting fact. Other than that, I have no idea. I don't know.
How boring.
I know. I absolutely don't have.
Broken your pelvis in 3 places. That's quite a cool one, to be fair.
Okay, broke my pelvis in 3 places. That's my interesting fact. Yeah, that's probably about it. I don't have any other interesting ones. No, I do the gym. I mean, when I was like younger, I used to play a lot of sports, like a lot more sports. So like athletics and stuff. But
it's actually one thing that's quite important, I think, to maybe even note that everybody, I think, when they're young, does so many different things, but the older you get, the less things you can do. You just struggle to fit everything in, don't you? Like,
oh God, yeah, it's so difficult. But between work and racing and trying to have a social life at the same time, it's so much going on. And as you get older, life gets busier. I've never wished to be older.
That's the thing. Like, I think it's funny when you're a youngster and you're racing. Even when you're racing, you're like, oh, I just be riding this bike, and I just want to be here, and I just want. Do you know what I mean? Like when you actually get to that part, you're just like, oh, it was so much simpler when I was just a kid.
When you were younger, I know.
It's so much easier. So what would you say is one word that describes you best?
Determined.
Determined, yeah.
Go for that. I'd say determined. Yeah. Put my mind to things and definitely go for it. So I'll go for that.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Going on to, like, this is us kind of just wrapping up just now.
Yeah.
What would your advice be for someone who's considering joining the sport? Like, what would your bit of advice be to, if for instance, a parent came up to you at the circuit and said, we're thinking about this, what would you say to them?
Do it. Do it. I mean, if your kid has asked you and is interested in doing it, then they also want to do it. I mean, at some point they're going to do it if they want to do it, so you might as well start them off early, learn how to be safe about it. And, they say the younger you start, the more you learn. You're learning all the way throughout, but if you're starting at 10, quite young, mini bikes, you make friends along the way, and it definitely makes it easier as you progress through, and it's great. I mean, you'd rather that. I mean, I don't know how many about you, but during school I missed a couple parties and things like that, and I'd much rather be racing than spending money doing rubbish like that, so.
Yeah, no, completely 100% behind you on that one. Like, the parties, to be honest, I'm a bit boring. The party scene isn't really my scene anyway.
Yeah.
So, like, when you do have that one party where you're like, oh, I really wish I was there. When you get to the race, you don't even think about it. Like, you don't even
think about it. Yeah, it's totally like you're 100% in racing, and I wouldn't change it. I don't really know anyone who's gone, oh, I raced and I wish I didn't. It's once you're in it, and there's people who'll do it and then things will get in the way and they'll come back to it. It's one of those things. You just once you've dipped your toe in, that's it. It's got you.
Yeah. And I think as well that we're kind of speaking about kids coming into the sport. You can come into our sport at any age, and I think
any age. Yeah.
And it's one of the things as well that when you do come in, like, I've had people come up to me at the circuit and say, like, oh, we're considering doing this, what do you think? And like you say, the first thing that you say to anybody as soon as they ask that is just do it. That's literally the first thing. The first thing you say. That you can get advice along the way from people like the SACU, from the Not Killer the Melville Club. There's a big, like, Facebook and a social media community from all the even the different classes that you're considering joining. There's so many different things that you can do, and different things.
And the paddock's so friendly as well. I mean, you could just go up, like you say, people come up to you and ask. It's you just ask someone, and if they don't know, they'll know someone who does. So yeah, there's no point in what if I wish I did that. You might as well just go in and do it.
Yeah, and I think as well, it's probably a nice thing to point out that if, for instance, you'd fallen off your bike and there was someone who had the part that you needed to fix your bike, even if I've seen, it's happened to us before. We've given our main championship rivals in the past parts for their bike, so they can race against us. It's not. It's not everybody would do that, of course, but there is. It's such a, it's if someone's got a part that you need, you'll generally get it from someone.
Yeah, they're happy. Everyone's kind of happy to help in that way, which is great. And if they don't have it, again, they'll probably find you someone else who does.
Yeah, that's 100%. So, other than obviously this is kind of the last question, but other than the gym, what would you say is your other hobbies that you have? Do you see, if I had to get asked this question, right? People would speak to like athletes as what we're known as, and they would say, I enjoy this sport and that sport. I enjoy playing badminton. I enjoy going out for dinner. That's one of my other hobbies. I absolutely love going out for dinner. Cycling. So, but I think that when you get asked that question, and when you're on like a podcast or when you're not getting interviewed for something, like you feel you need to say something healthy. Like I like going for dinner and going to the cinema.
I mean, I like running and hiking hills for fun. I do enjoy running. I mean, I haven't ran in a wee while, but I'll get back to it, I promise. And I'm a bit boring. I like to read. I'm a bit of a bookworm, and just any outdoor activity, really. I do a bit of paddleboarding. That's another hobby I have.
That's an interesting fact as well. Where was that when the interesting fact? I do paddleboarding.
I didn't think it was. I didn't know it was interesting. Sorry. Yeah. Can we make that my interesting fact? I'm less boring now.
So that's kind of us kind of done, unless you want to add anything else in that you want to say to the listeners around the world.
I think I've rambled on enough.
No, not at all. So, through your racing career, I'm sure that you've had loads and loads of people who have helped you along the way. Do you want to shout anybody out or anything like that?
Yeah, you know what? I'll say a big shout out to my dad, because he'll probably watch this and make fun of me. He takes me to all the races, and my mum as well. Couldn't have done it without either of them. I mean, when you start out, they're the ones who are paying, so big thanks to them. And obviously sponsors: Dante Contracts, Bill G Services, Hamikaze Racing, Stuart Hamilton. He's helped us a lot as well. He's one of those people, when we need a bit for the bike, he's got it.
Stuart's got a whole other bike. He's not usually got parts. He's usually got a whole.
Oh yeah, just take the bike.
Just take that one.
Yeah, and there's probably lots of people that I've not mentioned, but everyone in the paddock that's ever helped us. Obviously your dad and your mum and everything have always helped us as well. So yeah, just
like you
thanks to everyone.
It's like one big family, isn't it? I mean,
one big family, yeah.
You could literally go through listing every single person that's helped you, but
exactly. The list is too long. The list is too long. They know themselves who they are. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you very much for coming on, and very, very, very best of luck for this weekend. I think you're going to do amazing, and hopefully, if we have you on as a repeat guest, then we'll have good news to talk about.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed. Thank you for having me.
Not at all. Thank you.
Bye.